I have 32-ounce ball jars that I use for canning, and what I need to do, and I store them in these Rubbermaid containers, and this is the lid for one of the containers, and I'll show you the container later. And what I need to do is cut these raised areas off so that the 32-ounce jars, I'll be able to close the lid. Otherwise they kind of buckle and don't close well, and they open a lot. Alright, and then I have a shelf in the basement that I keep these in, because the boxes they give you don't last, and now they don't even put a full box. They just cover it with plastic and it's useless. So here we go. I'm going to show you what I figured out to do to cut these lippy areas here off. And I'm going to use my utility blade, nippers for electricity, and wire cutters. And these wire cutters are terrible. They're really old, but they work great for things like this. So what I figured is if I cut with the utility blade up to this little plastic tower here, right there, those things that stick up, and cut on the other side of it. Do that on all of these. And then I can, a lot of times that plastic will come off. And then what I can do next is take the nippers and cut through that little tower. I can do that on both sides. And we'll pretty much remove that part. But this doesn't cut well through the rest of the plastic, so there's that. And then what I'll do is use these guys to cut up into the corner, and then use the knife again to get around the corner. There you go. And try to keep your hands out of the way. Okay, I'm going to do the other ones now. Each side of the plastic tower and nipping it. trimmed up. And get the scraps off. These in the recycle bin. Do one more lid. So that's all trimmed up. All the corners. One more lid. There's all the scraps. Here's the garlic harvest. Got it on a screen to dry out for a few weeks before I store them. And here's my containers. They're not Rubbermaid, they're Sterilite. They're called Shelf Totes. And I label on the outside what kind of jars are in them. And this is one of the ones that has the 32-ounce jars, and they come really close to the top. So that little lip that I cut off was really getting in the way. Here's the lid. I've got it now. Now I can close this a lot easier. Before it would stretch. This one doesn't have one on that side. It came with it, but it broke. I got a bunch in the mail, and some of them were broken. And here's another one up here. See, the jars come pretty close to the top. And so that closes. And inside. And it's perfect size to keep these clean and away from anything nasty like spiders or whatever you might have in your basement. And then let me show you where I put them. Right now they're just on our bar because we're doing a lot of work on different projects. This is the canning room and the wine and beer room, and the shelves where my canning is. And then we have a shelf that goes on this wall, but we're putting in this subfloor here that's called dry core, and I gave it some paint coats, and we still need to cut around these posts. And this is the shelving unit I use for the cans. And I think that is Rubbermaid. That's a better quality one. I had a really crappy one from Home Depot that I didn't like, or somewhere that I didn't like. And this one's a really nice one. I'm surprised it doesn't have Rubbermaid all over it. Oh, there it is. It says Rubbermaid there. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves, and I can put 2 boxes on each shelf and stack them. And then that gives me, most of my jars are like that. And then I have some other jars that I, turn this light off. some other jars I put in other containers. These are like odds and end jars that I think might be useful someday, and I'm probably just going to recycle them and never use them. And then down here, a big container that I have my hot sauce jars in, because they're too tall to fit in the Sterilite containers. And this big one actually fits on the top shelf of the Rubbermaid workstation, or whatever, the shelving unit. Okay. So that's all my canning supplies, and that's the end of this video. See you at the next one.